And good afternoon, and welcome to Margie Wright Diamond for a special afternoon. It's Fresno State and Colorado State. They will be honoring the championship team from 1998 for the Fresno State Bulldogs. Margie Wright is in attendance. This stadium is named after her, and she is here. And we will hear from her as well as meet some of the players that have shown up. To recap what happened in 1998, it was an outstanding season for Fresno State. They finished with a record of 52-11. They were 28-2 in the WAC. Fresno State had a few All-Americans as well. They ended up with 4 on the team: Laura Berg, Amanda Scott, Becky Witt, and Nina Lindenberg. Fresno State was able to set a lot of records throughout. Not only were they 52-11, they broke Arizona's 29-game winning streak in the final when they won 1-0 over the Wildcats. They set the school record for batting average at .340, runs with .374, fewest errors with only 58 committed all season, and they were the last non-Power 5 school to win the Women's College World Series and just one of 2 non-Power 5 schools to ever win the Women's College World Series. Fresno State, steeped in tradition, have been to the NCAA tournament 33 times out of 36 seasons, and this was the best of the bunch, the 1998 National Championship team, as we wait for them to introduce some of the players on the field. And then, of course, we will hear from the head coach, Margie Wright. Good crowd on hand. Gates open today at 1 o'clock, so you had people tailgating, ready to come in and see and meet some of the players that are able to show up. There will be a couple of players, notable absences, just because they are coaching softball at other schools. Laura Berg will not be in attendance. She is coaching at Oregon State. And Amanda Scott, the outstanding pitcher who was on the mound for that win over Arizona, she is a head coach for a Division II school, UMSL, at University of Missouri St. Louis. So, of course, she will not be here as well. But there are quite a few players here. We will, of course, introduce those. We'll hear from Margie Wright on what is turning out to be a gorgeous Saturday afternoon. Earlier in the week, we were kind of worried about the weather because they forecasted rain today. They said it'd be no rain yesterday, but possible rain today. So we were unsure if we would have a good day, but it looks like it's going to be flat out gorgeous with the sun and just a few clouds in the sky. Fresno State, steeped in tradition. We'll tell you what they did actually in the Women's College World Series, because you know they won the championship game over Arizona. But did you know how they got there once they got to the Women's College World Series? Well, Fresno State opened with a win on May 21st over Nebraska 6-1. They then faced off against a Michigan team who defeated the day before Texas 7-2. Fresno State was able to defeat Michigan 8-0 before they moved on to the semifinal. Fresno State was undefeated. They fell to Washington 3-1, but it's a double elimination tournament back then until you got to the championship game. And they lost to Washington 3-1 before turning around and defeating Washington 6-1 to advance to the championship game. Arizona rolled to get there. They defeated Oklahoma State 1-0. Then they blew out Washington 8-0. That's why Fresno State only had to beat Washington once and not twice. Arizona defeated Oklahoma State for the second time, 5-0, to move on to the championship. Unlike what it is now in the Women's College World Series, where it's a best of 3, back then in 1998, it was just a single elimination championship game, and Fresno State was victorious over Arizona 1-0 in the championship game, and they became the NCAA champions back in 1998. Kind of crazy when you think about it. It's been 20 years since that last victory, and of course, by winning it, they became #1 ranked in the nation. You had some incredible numbers that happened throughout. Sophomore pitcher who became an All-American, Amanda Scott, she shut down the Arizona Wildcats, allowing just 3 hits, and she struck out 6 for her 14th shutout and 25th win of the year. She tied 3 College World Series records for lowest ERA. She had 0. Fewest earned runs allowed, 0. And fewest walks, 0. Fresno State's team ERA of 0 was tied for the series best as well. And it's just a very impressive showing by Amanda Scott and really the entire Fresno State bunch. But it'll be exciting to see some of the players run out. They were here earlier at 1:30 out in the outfield grass. A little tailgating, meeting some of the fans as well. And they'll be coming out and they'll be going through the batting order, and they'll also be taking the field in their positions. And then, of course, Margie Wright will be the one giving the speech. And basically talking about what was a great year for Fresno State. It really began in the fall of 1997 with their 22-player squad, and they had a committed coaching staff, and they always like to say they had the support of the fans and their faith in the Fresno State Bulldog team, and they achieved their dream of making it to Oklahoma City and going to the Women's College World Series. But it wasn't like they hadn't been there before with Margie Wright. When they went in 1998, it was already the 11th College World Series appearance for Fresno State out of 17 straight postseasons in the NCAA tournament. That was a record at the time. They were the number 7 seed going in. They finished with a postseason record of 7-1. And Margie Wright had an outstanding coaching career. She coached for 26 years from 1986 all the way to 2012. That is why this diamond is named after Margie Wright. And all the Fresno State players that have played since and in the future will be playing on Margie Wright Diamond. And you can see what the tradition for Fresno State is all about. They've gone to 33 NCAA tournaments out of 36 seasons, which matches UCLA. And that's what they're looking to do again here with this year's bunch. And so it should be a fun afternoon. Got some of the current players, got to meet some of the older players. And it's just when you start looking at numbers, it's just outstanding. Arizona had a 29-game win streak when they met in the championship, and Fresno State was able to win that one. It's just crazy when you start just breaking down that Arizona had gone 52 consecutive scoreless innings by Arizona pitchers until Fresno State, of course, was able to win that game by a score of 1-0. And Bulldogs broke a lot of records. As we look onto the field and you see some of the ladies with kids, and some of them are married, so we'll read you the maiden names along with their married names now. And it's just it's a fun day if you're a Fresno State Bulldogs fan to be here and be at Margie Wright Diamond to see some of the older players from 1998 as they kind of scan through some of the current players, and then they'll show you some of the players from 1998. The PA announcer is announcing some of the players here shortly. It's Colorado State and Fresno State Bulldogs. Got a good crowd on hand. You've got some young girls from different softball teams in attendance. So it's just going to be a fun afternoon, and we're looking forward to the pregame ceremony here. Fresno State will be in the home white uniforms with the blue pants, and then they've got the red on their shoulders. And then Colorado State in the green with the white pants and the green knee highs as they now introduce the Fresno State 1998 team. The ladies that were able to show up. The first baseman that they're announcing is Angela Cervantes, the first baseman. She's the first one that they've announced. It'll be a shortstop, Alicia Dowland. Then you're going to have one of the All-Americans, the left fielder, Becky Witt, who La Bandera now. Well, she was one of the 4 All-Americans on that Fresno State 1998 championship team. The second baseman is Nina Lindenberg. She was another All-American. She was 2 of the 4. The other 2 will not be here, Laura Berg and Amanda Scott. Then the third baseman is Jamie Maxey. She's going to run out with her daughter. You've got the first baseman, Vanessa Valenzuela Miller. It's just really cool to be a part of this. Again, this is the 1998 championship team for Fresno State. You have the utility player, Candace Bolin-Reynaud. It'll be a catcher up next, which will be Amber Wall. Some of the ladies jogging out. It's also good for them to see some of the people they have not seen in a lot of years. That's what's one of those things that players always talk about. A catcher, a designated player. The next one is Carolyn Wilson. She's going to run out with a couple of her kids. They're going to announce the team manager, Maribelle Campos. You've also got the assistant coach who's here as well. So that's Campos coming out. It'll be the assistant coach, Jan Winslow, who jogs out. And of course, the head coach of the championship team. She was a 10-time conference coach of the year, 17-time conference champ, and a gold medal winning coach. It's Margie Wright. See all the people giving a standing ovation to Margie Wright and the 1998 championship team. Margie will be giving a speech here shortly as the PA announcer tells you about all the records that they did. Their final record, 52-11, 28-2 in the WAC, and they defeated Arizona 1-0 in the final of the College World Series. As they play a little Queen, We Are the Champions in the background. We will head down for Margie Wright's speech coming up here shortly. We're going to throw it down to Margie Wright, who will now give the speech that everyone's waiting for. And that was Margie Wright, the outstanding coach who coached here at Fresno State for 26 years, from 1986 to 2012. That championship team, 52-11, 28-2 in the WAC. And she throws out the ceremonial first pitch. And the 1998 championship team that had 4 All-Americans on it, that won 52 games. They stand out right behind the pitcher's mound. Got some softball coming up. It's Fresno State and Colorado State in Game 2 of their 3-game series. And it'll be an emotional afternoon, as you've got a lot of these players here that'll stay with their kids and watch the game. And then you'll have the current Fresno State roster that's going to want to put on a good performance, because this is a softball tradition here at Fresno State, where they've not only won national titles, they go to the NCAA tournament almost every single year. And that's kind of what's expected. You're part of the Fresno State softball team, and now all of the ladies will give high fives to the current Fresno State players. So we're moments away from opening pitch, Fresno State and Colorado State, a good pregame ceremony. Stay tuned. We've got more coming up right after this.